Hi, and welcome everybody to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel. You're watching the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Ross Benjamin. It's Wednesday, the 14th of February for all you women out there that watch our show. And there's women that watch our show, believe it or not, folks. Happy Valentine's Day to each and every one of you. Today I am joined by my esteemed colleagues from gamblersworld.net, which is our sponsor site, Mr. Jesse Schule, and also Mr. Sean Higgs. And we're going to be covering some college basketball today, starting with Sean. How are you, my man?
Well, Baylor here got it done for us for my pick here in the chat. Although I had a 3-6 day yesterday, I think Jesse was on Nevada with me in a they come back, they win. Those are tough losses. And, of course, I mentioned the Providence-Butler game here. It was a Providence at the 4-4, whatever that was. They lose by 6, close one there. It's been one of those weeks here. As good as the year started, I'm hitting those close losses. Wichita State the other day, lose or no tie, go to overtime and get blown out. So it's a little rough patch the last couple of days, but look at a bounce back today.
There you go. That's what it's all about. We don't stay down long, and we don't sulk over a losing day. We initially we're not happy, but then we have to turn the page. It's called being professional, and there's a reason why we've been around as long as we have. All three of us is because of our ability to do that and do it successfully. Jesse, you're 3-0 yesterday for the boys here on the channel. As I had Iowa State, you had Marquette, and Sean cashed in with Baylor. So not bad for a couple of guys that always are being questioned in the comments section.
Yeah, Ross, I think you hit the nail on the head. You're absolutely right. There are women that watch this show, and they're not here to see you and Sean. No. I just thought I'd point that out. Unfortunately, my big play yesterday was on Nevada. They were down by 10 at halftime. They rallied to tie the game. Then they go down by 10 again. Then they rally to take a 3-point lead with like 5 seconds left and give up a 3-point shot by Jamal Mashburn Jr. and lose by 1. And if you want to know how I feel about that, you got to see my Twitter page, because I can't really put it into words the way I've done on my Twitter page.
All right. Well, people, go to Jesse Schule's Twitter page, just Great go picture. At Jesse Schule and you'll find him there. What's your handle there, Jesse?
At Jesse Schule, that's correct.
At Jesse Schule. So, all right, folks, I've hit 5 college basketball free picks in a row, by the way. I had Iowa State yesterday. They went wire to wire at Cincinnati. On Tuesday, let me see here, just to review real quickly. I also had on Monday, I had Texas Tech -3, 79-50 blowout of Kansas last week. 3 picks on the show in college basketball. Northwestern easily over Nebraska, Texas Tech, Baylor over the total, and then Virginia blowing out Miami of Florida. So going to go for 6 in a row today. We're going to go for another 3-0 sweep today. How's that sound, guys? Is that all right with you, Sean? If we go 3-0 again today? Go. All right. Well, let's start with you because, Sean,
the craziest game on the board.
We started with you yesterday. We went 3-0. Let's not change it up. South Carolina and Auburn jumped right off the board at me. Auburn, an 11.5-point favorite. Auburn's a good team, but, South Carolina just can't seem to get any respect from the odds makers, and they keep proving them wrong. The total 137.5. But honestly, Sean, the way I think, and you guys know the way I am, when you see a line that's odd like this, 11.5 for Auburn against a team that's lost 3 games all season at this juncture of the year, I got to think that they're begging you to take South Carolina. And when that happens, I'm more inclined to go the other way. What about you?
We were just talking before we came on about this game, and it's almost like yesterday's game. I take the fave yesterday, and we're more kind of like dog kind of people here and stuff like that. I'm gonna have to go the 11.5 though with Auburn. It's just the old, what do we say? If it looks too good to be true, it usually is. I mean, 21-3. The losses, again, you lost at home to Georgia. That was in a weird spot. You had one at Missouri in an overtime game, and that was on the heels of getting absolutely demolished in Alabama scoring 47 points. I look at the line, the schedule, like who are their good wins? They beat Kentucky at home. They routed them pretty good by 17. And then you have a win at Tennessee. Okay, wonderful. Auburn has more losses. Again, that's kind of a broad stroking brush, but at home, all double-digit wins. Their losses, I mean, you're losing neutral at Baylor. You can't complain about some of these losses on the road, at a SEC team.
The non-conference portion of each schedule, Auburn, night and day. Look at who Auburn's played in the non-conference and South Carolina's played, but for whatever reason, they keep winning the SEC, Sean.
I got to lay the 11.5 here. It's just, I don't know. However, you guys help me with the wording. When it's a game like this, I just can't take the low hanging fruit, right? You can't just grab the apple like Eve and then she ruins the whole world for everybody. You're going to take something like this. It looks easy money, right? I don't know. I find easy. And could it lose? Absolutely, it could lose. I mean, South Carolina could be the real deal, and everybody's just been totally wrong about them for the last 25 games. They're 21-3. I just take one game. This isn't just one game. This is a continuation of games that have odds where you're like, wow, that doesn't seem right. And you just have to keep the same strategy or model, or however you do your thought process on games. You can't pick and choose spots like this, because then you're sitting at 500 or under 500. It's got to be all the time, and all the time says for me, Auburn minus 11.5.
I agree. I just think this is a sucker play to go to South Carolina. And when I say sucker play, it's not disrespect to anybody who takes South Carolina. It's just terminology that we use in our business when we see, like Sean alluded to, something that looks too good to be true. In sports betting, normally that's the case. It's too good to be true when you see something like that. But in any event, by the way, we were talking about unranked teams against ranked teams, and we had another top 10 team go on the road and get beat by an unranked team yesterday. Is North Carolina, who had defeated Syracuse earlier in the year by 36 points at Chapel Hill. Syracuse wins by 7 against North Carolina. So again, topsy-turvy in the college basketball world when it comes to betting. But Jesse, what's your thoughts here? I know you were holding your nose. I'm not sure why, but
Sean was at a loss for words, so I was trying to help him out. Hold your nose and lay that big number.
Yes.
But you guys have me on this show not just for the ladies, but somebody's got to be willing to take those sucker bets, and I'll play that role for you guys. But I actually took a deep dive into this game, had a really good look at it, because when you've got the higher ranked team, the first place team in the SEC, getting 12 points against a lower ranked team below them in the standings in the SEC, how does that happen? Now, there's a few reasons. Obviously, Auburn 12-0 at home, very good. I'll get to that later. But I think where it really stems from is South Carolina last year, 4-14 in the SEC. They actually finished 221st with a KenPom ranking of 221st, which was the lowest by an SEC team in the history of KenPom. So just a brutal year for South Carolina. I read the preseason projections. They were projected by everybody to finish in last place in the SEC. So it sort of seems understandable that it's difficult for people to really move those lines and catch up to where they are at right now, considering how far they've come from last season. And then additionally, you've got Auburn. They just blow people out at home. I mean, they're 12-0 at home, and the majority of those wins are double-digit wins. And we will look at them. They beat Alabama by 18, Vandy by 27, Mississippi by 23, LSU by 15. But this is the key. The one game that I'm going to focus in on is Texas A&M. They beat them by 11, score of 66-55, gritty, low-scoring game. Of all those teams I just mentioned, boys, which one reminds you the most of South Carolina?
Yeah, probably A&M.
Yeah.
Probably A&M, right?
Yep,
So, and then we're going to look at South Carolina's road games. Their first road game in the SEC, they got blown out by 27 points at Alabama. They've won 4 straight since against Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Georgia. I will point out in that game at Alabama, they were within 1 at halftime. I'm going to look at SoCar, South Carolina, plus 6.5 for the first half, because that's a pretty damn big number.
South Carolina plus 6.5 in the first half is Jesse's opinion on this game. But our official pick from Mr. Higgs is Auburn minus 11.5 over South Carolina. I agree with him. And, if you try to make sense of this line, these guys both touched on the fact that how dominating Auburn's been at home, not only not losing, but most of the time winning by double-digit margins. And then you go to the non-conference portion of the schedule, which some of that's factored in here when it comes to setting the line by the odds makers. And there's 363 teams that are playing Division I basketball. And the strength of schedule for South Carolina in their non-conference games was number 338 out of 363 teams. But again, they keep winning on a consistent basis within conference play. And the SEC is pretty damn good. But again, this looks like a sucker play to me. So I'm going to agree with Sean on this one. All right, Jesse, let's get to your game. Intriguing matchup. Michigan State looks like they're coming on of late, and they're going to be traveling to Happy Valley to take on Penn State. And this is a Nittany Lions team that all of a sudden is playing pretty good basketball. Yet it's Michigan State as a 3.5-point road favorite here, and the total at 143.5. Take it away, my friend.
Well, I had a road favorite, a rare road favorite yesterday with Marquette, but we're going right back to the well with what we do best, and that's home dogs here. I like Penn State plus the 3.5. You just look at the numbers for these two teams. Penn State 9-3 at home. Michigan State 1-5 on the road. Okay, Michigan State is 7-6 in the Big Ten, and Penn State's only 6-7. Not a huge difference there. But you look at Michigan State's road record and who they've played on the road in the Big Ten. Their one lone road win was against Maryland, at Maryland, by a score of 61-59. So they're winning that game by 2 points. Now they're laying 3.5 against a Penn State team. Their last home game was an 89-79 win over Iowa. They've also beaten Wisconsin, Michigan, and Ohio State at home. It seems to me that the wrong team's favored here, Ross. And why is that? I think it's a simple brand name issue.
Yeah,
if you take that Michigan State logo off and you replace it with a Minnesota Golden Gophers logo or a Nebraska Cornhuskers logo, they'll be getting 3.5 instead of laying 3.5. But the Spartans are still a commodity, still a brand name in college basketball, and it's not wise to bet into that. So I'll take the points here with Penn State.
I agree with you, Jesse, for everything you just said. And then also you look at Penn State in recent games, 3-1 straight up, but 4-0 against the spread. Their only loss in that sequence was at Northwestern in their previous game. They lose by 5 as a 7.5-point dog and get to cover. But Northwestern has not lost a game at home all year in conference play. So nothing to be ashamed of there. You're looking at their home games like I think you just touched upon. They beat Iowa by 10. They knock off Wisconsin by 4. So they got some good wins there in recently in conference home play. But we're getting 3.5 here. So I like the dog here in this spot, Sean.
Yesterday in a similar spot with Marquette and Providence, I'm like, give me Providence here, right? Getting a few points. I know
it was they didn't play Providence.
It was Providence Marquette.
Providence.
Butler,
Marquette.
Oh, Butler, Providence. I'm sorry. Yeah, Butler. Same kind of scenario, but in this case, we have Michigan State off a 31-point win over this team a couple weeks ago. And you have as I mentioned, 1-5. The win at Maryland, close. I got to lean to a home team. This is like I just said. Sometimes you just got to stick to things over the course of a couple months. And listen, it's not going to be some sexy 80% winner, but it'll grind out to 54, 55, 56, and you'll make money on it. I'm with you guys. It's Penn State or nothing here. You got to take Penn State.
Penn State plus the 3.5, unanimous. Our official pick from Jesse, Penn State plus 3.5. Me and Sean are on board with that pick as well. Let me get to my game real quickly here, and then we'll wrap it up. Xavier at Seton Hall. These teams met way back on December 23rd in Seton Hall in their first matchup this season, and Seton Hall easily won that game 74-54. That game went way under the total of 148.5. However, a little bit misleading in the fact that Seton Hall just shot the ball terribly in that game. They shot 32% for the game, and that low-scoring affair wasn't a result of a slow pace. That's for sure. I mean, you're looking at Xavier attempted 70 field goal attempts in that game, and Seton Hall 68. Folks, that's an absurd fast pace for a college basketball game. The shooting just left a lot to be desired, most notably Seton Hall, as I just alluded to. These teams are very good at creating second chance opportunities offensively. One of the best rebounding teams in the Big East play. Well, as a matter of fact, Seton Hall is the best. They're number one in offensive rebounding within conference play, and Xavier number 3. And a matter of fact, with that poor shooting in the first matchup, there was a combined 42 offensive rebounds in that game, which means, look, these teams are creating second chance opportunities. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Seton Hall is not going to shoot the ball anywhere near as bad as they did in the first meeting. This is an Xavier team, by the way, when we're talking about tempo, 138 field goal attempts in the first matchup. That's nothing new for Xavier because they're number 1 in offensive tempo within Big East play. So they love the fast pace, and they're very good at speeding other teams up, even though they don't prefer to play that way. Xavier's played 4-0 to the over in their last 4 conference away games, with a combined 157.3 points per game scored. Seton Hall 3-0-1 to the over in their last 4 conference home games, when the number is 139 or greater, which it is tonight. And that's 158.8 points scored per game in those 4 contests. Seton Hall averages 77 points per game at home this year, much better than when they are on the road. And both teams are excellent free throw shooting teams, especially within conference play. Seton Hall at 80.6% and Xavier at 78.2%. And as I recall, there was only, let me see if I can find that stat. In the first matchup, it was a very uncharacteristic low free throw amounts in that game. I think there was like a combined 15 free throws. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that number is probably going to double in this game. And we're going to get some points with the clock stopped from both teams. So I'm going to go over the total here. Xavier Seton Hall over 145.5. I just think the shooting will be better on Seton Hall's part. I think both teams will get to the free throw line better than they did in the first matchup based on their season history. And that's my pick. Xavier Seton Hall over 145.5. Sean?
I had to dig because I had Seton Hall the other day against Villanova and opened at like 4. It went up to like 6.5. They get absolutely waylaid 80-54 by a terrible Villanova team. I have to look at Seton Hall here. And it wasn't even a game I really was going to look at until we were just talking about it, because I'm like Seton Hall's really underperformed in my eyes this year. But then you look at this Xavier squad, not really good on the road. I mean, you beat DePaul, you got crushed by Connecticut, Creighton, St. John's, you beat Providence. That's it. You lost to Villanova yourselves. It's Hall again. Home teams seem to get the job done. You know, I don't want to go to the 130, 140 range here with a 2.5, but maybe a money line play on Seton Hall is the right call for me.
Xavier has done pretty good in this point spread parameter in their last 5 games this season. When it's +3 to -3, they've gone 4-1 straight up. Jesse, do you agree with Sean or no?
I look at this game like it's just really a tough game to figure. I don't think I would bet on this game with Ross Benjamin's money, but if you put a gun to my head and you make me pick a side, I'll take the points. But it just looks like both these teams. I don't like the look of either of these two teams, and they sort of look like the mirror image of each other. Seton Hall losing 4 of their last 6. Xavier 3-3 in their last 6. I guess you could make excuses for Xavier that their losses came to Creighton and UConn, but they weren't really banging great teams with their wins either. So, yeah, I'm torn. I really don't want to have to make a bet on this game.
All right, so Jesse stays neutral here, but let's review our free picks today, and let's go for another 3-0 day today, and hopefully I cash in my 6th in a row for you guys. In the Penn State Michigan State game, Jesse likes Penn State plus 3.5 at home against Michigan State. Sean likes the Auburn Tigers late 11.5 over South Carolina. And I like the Xavier and Seton Hall game to go over 145.5. So there you have it. Our picks for Wednesday, February the 14th. Jesse, tell the folks a little bit about what's going on with Mr. Schule over at gamblersworld.net and what they might expect this week or anything else you'd like to share with the audience.
Yeah, like I said, I had a bit of a terrible game I had Nevada last night, and they lost with a buzzer beater against New Mexico. So that didn't pan out the way we like it. But it's been a great month, a great start to 2024, all over the leaderboards, especially with college hoops. Ice hockey is going well. Also, NBA. I mean, really, everything's going great. Just a really bad beat last night. So certainly bet with confidence moving forward and heading into the weekend. And I've had a bit of a short cards the last couple of days, post Super Bowl, taking a breather. But I'm planning on firing away this weekend. So if you like action, I won't be having as much as Sean, but I'll have fuller cards this weekend than I have had recently.
Not many guys have as much as Sean, Jesse, but Jesse puts out quality, and so does Sean. But Jesse's been hot. Maybe not a good day yesterday, but over the long haul, he has proven to be one of the top handicappers in the world. And we're not talking about a 2-month period. We're talking about over the last 10 years. Everything's been documented for him. Sean holds his own. There's no two ways about it. This guy on top of the football standings on an annual basis, terrific college basketball handicapper. Sean, what do you got going over at gamblersworld.net or anything else you'd like to share with the audience in terms of hot streaks or whatever you prefer?
Yeah, 3-pack up for tonight in college basketball, looking to bounce back yesterday. Losing day. It happens. But, I come in here, I tell you how I do. We're good, we're bad. I just I try not to get too wrapped up in it. Some days, yesterday we had 6 games. Today we got just a handful. Not some cards I like more than others. Jesse was like, oh, I might have 5 games on Saturday. I don't even know. There could be 13. I have no idea until we get there. But again, we got leaderboards for a reason. And when I think most of the time this year, if someone was off the leaderboard a week or 2 later, here they come. We get on little runs. That's the way it is. You just got to mind the bankroll for any of us. You're going to hit a little rough patch. I'm churning my wheels a little bit with some tough ones, but we'll get it. I mean, we were good for 5.5 of the 6 weeks of 2024. So we'll bounce back. I'm not worried.
There you go. And you're right, Sean. We got a ton of the finest handicappers, including ourselves, anywhere you'll find on the internet. And it's a revolving door with the leaderboard, and there's a reason for that. And that's why you have plenty of options at gamblersworld.net where we guarantee our selections, folks. If you don't win, you don't make a profit on any single game or multi-game daily package, any subscription plan of 30 days or fewer. We will credit your account back the exact amount of what you spent on that specific purchase. So keep that in mind. And read that our credit policy, folks. So because we've had several people who have misunderstood that they think if they pay for something entirely in credit and they lose, that they should be getting whatever the handicapper has listed as a purchase price. And that's not true. It's the money you spent. We have no problem crediting back the money you spent. If you pay for it entirely on credit, which is a zero amount for you out of your pocket, there's no guarantee in that regard. It's sports betting. If you lose, move on, and let's make some money for you going forward. You could find me at gamblersworld.net, like I alluded to. College basketball totals, 1-1 yesterday, but 66-34 now with my last 100 college basketball totals, which is an easy calculation of 66%. And folks, that doesn't get much better than that with that volume of plays over that course of time with little the average money line juice of somewhere around minus 110. So a lot of money to be made with my college basketball totals. My NBA side since April 11th of 2023, 67-45. That's 60%, all documented. My NBA top plays, which are 4 units and above at the site, 39-21 with my last 60, which is good for 65%. And all totals hitting around 60% since August the 4th on all totals in all sports. So keep an eye on my totals plays, my NBA sides, specifically my college basketball totals, because right now all 3 of those categories have been making a killing over the long haul. So in any event, for Jesse, Schule, Ross, Benjamin, and Sean Higgs, we'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us today. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please take a second to do so. You'll see a black subscribe button right underneath your video box. Or if you're on your PC, you'll see that WC logo, which stands for Winner's Circle. Click on that. It'll serve the same purpose. Subscribing is absolutely free. There's no strings attached. There's no hidden agenda, folks. Some of the finest handicappers anywhere on the internet you'll find as guests on this show. And also, folks, if you have not done this already, if you have subscribed or you're new, go into your YouTube settings and click on that alert notification bell for the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel, and you'll be notified upon any of our 5 to 6 podcasts going up on our channel weekly. Jesse, there's a like button right underneath. What say you?
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button. Jesse feeling his oats today. Smash that like button, touch that, tap that, whatever you want to do. It's just a small token of your appreciation for the time, work, and effort we put in to giving you a quality podcast on a daily basis right here on the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel. And our theme has always been, continues to be, and will be going forward, is we want to make you a smarter sports bettor today than you were yesterday. Until the next time, for Jesse, Sean, and Ross, take care and God bless, folks.